Hello, everybody. It's Michael Jaco with Unleashing Intuition Secrets. So we're at the Fraud Fighter Summit here in Las Vegas. Really good information that's coming through. Talked to a lot of people. I think I've met like probably 200, maybe 250 people, half the people here. Then lots of photos and chicks and a lot of hands. So lots of, people that, support the show. So thank you very much. It's been great to meet all of you. And it's almost like God, you're like God's messengers coming to tell me that, keep it up. You're doing a good job. So thank you very much for that. Terror attacks in the U.S. are beginning, I believe. We've talked about this for quite some time. This is part of the evil side that's basically trying to control the world, of course. And the United States is only like 3% of the population of the world, but the world depends on the United States, right, to get through this and overcome our corruption and so forth. So I've talked to a lot of people from it, in this group that's here is probably one of the most influential groups gathered anywhere in the United States right now. So we have a lot of people that are very supportive in a lot of different ways in their states. I'm hearing from people, in every state pretty much, and Canada. There's people from Brazil that are here. Germans. I met two very nice German ladies that have supported been watching me for 5 years, and it's amazing. So it's fun to be at these events and get the information, because it's a wealth of information that's at these events from people that are sharing. So, of course, there's people that are up on stage. I got up on stage for a little bit, talked about Brazil. I was following the action in Brazil from the point where Bolsonaro was stabbed and recovered, fortunately, and went to become the president of Brazil, and how he was basically in Brazil during those 2 years, the COVID years, when President Trump was pushed out by fraud, right? So lots of fraud being exposed here. Fraud, not only in all the different states. We're going to talk about fraud that's happening with California and the governor there, Newsom, and his wife. But not only that, but there's fraud in every state. There's fraud in every country. You're seeing it right now. The people are starting to stand up and push back, like we're seeing in Belfast. So that's going to start to, I think, seep into a lot of other countries. Of course, they're going to try and stop that out like they did during the COVID years in Brazil. So imagine if President Trump had stayed in office, because basically Bolsonaro was the Trump of South America. They tried very hard. They tried to kill him and from getting in there, because they have to have people in positions of power so that they can come in with their fraud, come in with their manipulations, come in with, illegal activities, flooding our countries with illegal aliens, which is designed to destroy our countries, right? And it's been doing a very good job, right? So we have to recognize these things for what they are. Not that we're trying to help disadvantaged people from all over the world. Yes, every Western country is helping disadvantaged people all over the world. All of a sudden, over the last 5, 6, 7, 8 years, it's ridiculous, right? And it's destroying the fabric of every culture. It's destroying the wealth of countries. Rapes are up all over the world. Murders are up all over the world, except for the United States. And they're down in the United States. So Trump has the ideals. Now, they're trying to do this in Sweden, from what I saw. And they're slow rolling it, because the political elite are basically, no, they're up against the wall, because people are starting to push back, because they have, unbelievable problems in Europe with illegal immigration and the fraud and the crime and all the stuff that goes along with it. The fraud being that they're taking the wealth, just like they are here in the United States, taking the wealth of the people and transferring it to the illegals, because they couldn't do it here in America. They couldn't make people be more fraudulent, because people actually believe in work and believe in merit and so forth. They couldn't destroy our country fast enough, so they brought in illegals to basically take that wealth and their own welfare and so forth, because the communists that are trying to destroy us know that you put a country on welfare, social programs, and so forth, and that is the destruction of that country. So they're very close to destroying a lot of countries of the world. But we're seeing that in Belfast, Ireland, they're pushing back. I don't know how far they're going to get. I predict that they're going to come in with heavy guns, right, and hammer down on them because they can't have it. And so I think the Irish, fighting Irish, they're going to have to get those guns, and they're going to have to turn them against the baddies, right? So, and that might have to happen all over the world. So I know the elite don't like me saying that. So, oh well, all right, that we're getting down to the wire. Now here in the United States, they're trying to create terrorist activity. And I'll talk deeper about Brazil in a little bit, as far as how they imagine the United States during COVID. And you got two sides that are pushing back and forth. Those people that want their freedom, don't want the mask, don't want to do social distancing. Imagine in Brazil, there were people that are celebrating and we're not going to do that. And then there were people that were pushing it like, oh, how dare you, the leftist that were controlled by the government and, the evil side and so forth, that were saying, oh, yes, we need you to lock down. Remember how they did that in the United States? You're going to kill grandma and, all that bullshit. Well, they were killing grandma in the nursing homes for real, especially in New York. But and grandpa and everybody else that was senior. Right? So those people that did that have not been held responsible yet. They should be absolutely executed, right? At the very minimum, should stand life imprisonment. So we're still dealing with that in Brazil. They went through that. Legal elections. They brought back this guy named Lula, who had been in prison. They let him out so that they could use him to win the next election, to cheat the next election. Bolsonaro barely lost, just like President Trump barely lost. And the same situation that we saw with, peaceful demonstrations, and then they came in with rioters, and then they blamed that on Bolsonaro and threw him in jail. So he's in jail for 27 years. So they intended to do the same thing. It's like same thing they try to do here in the United States with Trump, right? So this political, they're not very smart. They don't have, a game plan for every country. It's the same game plan, right? They're not very smart. We can expose them and we can overcome their plans, guys. It's not that hard. All right, so let me jump into what's probably happening right now in the United States is terrorist acts. We've talked about this for quite some time. So they're on. And just before I came on, there's multiple people reportedly shot inside a Delaware hospital. Now, we've talked about how schools obviously are very vulnerable, and hospitals. Now, we've heard and we've been putting out for a while, and when we put it out, it went silent. There was no attacks on hospitals, and everybody's like, you guys don't know what you're talking about. Well, we just had an attack on a hospital. And whether this is a terrorist act or whether some flaky guy that went in there, regardless of whether it's a flaky guy that went in there, it's an attack on a hospital, and we said they were coming, right? So let me play this so that you guys can see it's on. And there's multiple ones. There's one where they had a huge, they were going to do a huge event in Washington, D.C. During the UFC fight. They were going to, have some explosive drones blow up and push people into kill zones where snipers are going to take them out, and then they're going to storm the White House. God, and it was exposed, and they shut it down. So here's one that's happening in real time. So you can probably go look this up and find out, right after this. Listen to my show first. then go look this up or look at it while I'm talking.
And like, they got to be terrified. You know.
And how long have you worked?
So this is Wilmington, Delaware. Shots fired inside of a hospital. Like we said, we're coming. And then we have all this other terrorist activity that's going on that I'm gonna talk about, a couple other events. But I think it's on. I think we're on, and we need to be aware.
Almost a little over a year and a half, maybe.
Can you talk about what was done when the shooting happened in terms of security, reaching out? What did they tell? What were you told? Were you instructed?
No, I just got out. I didn't stick around to hear anything. You know, you hear that and you just go. Like, you hear the alarms go off, and you just get out of there.
Were there alarms going off?
Yeah, the alarms went off. So it was scary. I mean, I don't know. I feel horrible for the victims. My prayers go out. I just don't know what to say. Like, it's just terrifying.
It's probably the last place you would expect.
Yeah, like I told her earlier, like schools and hospitals, these are the last places that should ever happen.
So, and also they're the last places that basically are having the real protection that they need. All right. You'll have like an officer that's, part of a school. So an officer will be, who will show up occasionally when school starts. And, as it shuts down, he'll be there. And then occasionally he's back and forth. But there's some places where we're going to need officers. Now, they pushed a while back to have teachers have guns. I don't know how far that went. But that is definitely, I've known a lot of teachers that are like, former veterans, and they knew how to shoot. And whether they're veterans or not, they love shooting. They would have been perfect to have, weapons. That just doesn't exist in schools, right? And they think that that's dangerous. You have the teachers have guns. They're like, you trust your children to be educated by these people. Do a little bit extra of that background check, and if they, are qualified with a weapon and stay qualified with a weapon, maybe even, work with the school's, deputy that works with the school to make sure they get good training and so forth. And maybe there's training allotted for them. Duh. It's like, we should have, we're going to need it. We're going to need it. For me, I wouldn't have my kids in these schools right now anyway. Right. So the educational system is corrupt as hell. And then you have the threat of violence that's probably coming for a lot of these schools. It's a very dangerous time. Right. And this is just beginning. So several years into this, and now we're going to go into a very darker phase, I believe, before it's all over. And that's the way it is. All right. Antifa militants for violent conspiracy in Minnesota were just arrested. So again, all these plans are fortunately, we're stopping them out. Not the one in Delaware, evidently, but the feds arrest, like I said, Antifa militants. They started out with 15. Well, they settled with 15 members of Antifa for violently opposing enforcement of the nation's popular immigration laws. Today, the federal government indictment was unsealed, charging 15 defendants with conspiracy to impede or injure federal officers and other charges related to efforts of two Minneapolis-based Antifa groups that violently oppose the enforcement of federal law in our state. And that's from the U.S. Attorney Dan Rosen. So it may be difficult to get guilty verdicts from Democrat-leaning juries in Minnesota. This is a problem. So because of that, they scaled down or sidelined a bunch of charges against 29 of 36. So they scaled it back. So there's only 15 or so that they're charging now. So the terror group Democrats refused to acknowledge just had 15 members indicted for its insurgency against ICE facilities and personnel. So here you go. Get your effing guns and stop these effing people. A Minnesota Antifa member turned social media influencer and online recruiter named Kyle Wagner is urging his comrades to take up arms to kill agents of the federal government. So again, the terrorist activity that we've all been warning about is about to heat up in a big way. Now, here's the biggie, the real biggie. All right, so the DOJ releases images from foiled UFC attack plot. So I guess they had a UFC fight for this 250-year anniversary of America that was on a White House lawn. And they were supposed to do, like I said, drones and snipers and storming the White House. That got foiled by a mama bear. Mama bear saw little boy, one of her sons was getting a little out of hand, planning on something bad, and she called him out.
This is a story that deals with many different suspects in many different states, and we are learning, looking.
All right, let me share it. Sorry, I didn't have it sharing.
Through these documents, that a mother in Ohio had the courage to call authorities on her 19-year-old, and she expressed some concern, and she may have blown this entire case open. His name is 19-year-old Tyson Proper, and he was picked up after she called authorities on June 10th, just a few days ago. This was 4 days before the UFC fight. We want to show some images. The first image, I believe, that we're going to show is a rifle that belonged to her son, according to authorities. The other is a screen grab, several screen grabs showing aerial images and maps of the Washington, D.C. area, and discussing where snipers possibly would be related to the White House. This is all evidence that is posted on an official court docket right now, an official government document. But I will say 19-year-old Tyson Proper's mother called police after she was concerned about his purchases and communications with people online. It then led them to conversations that he allegedly had with someone named Brian Roa and Michael Thomas in Southern California. They appeared yesterday before a federal judge. We're also told that there is a suspect in Nebraska and one in Missouri as well.
So as you see, this is widespread, guys. This is not random. It's not like a couple of, knuckleheads get together. It's like, let's go, let's shoot some people up. This is definitely on another level, and someone is organizing it that has deep pockets. Who could do that? Of course, that would be the left extremist and Antifa types and all that kind of stuff, like we're starting to see. Now, Antifa has to be funded by whom? Kind of like what we're talking about with Bolsonaro. There's this, this cartel that runs the world, mafia cartel. But they seem like they're, ultra, billionaires and all that kind of stuff, and have a lot of money, and they're so all good and so forth. But no, there's an evil side, right? So we know the Luciferians basically run the world right now, and they hate those of us that are Christians and people that love our families and so forth. They want to destroy us, and they want to rule the world, right? And make it a great place for pedos and people that like to decrease the population and turn people into transhumans, right? So we're not up for that. We're not up for that. Most Americans in the world are very much not in favor of that whatsoever. All right, so we have a lot of this craziness that's going on out there. Like I said, some of this stuff is being foiled. But these guys were I think it was like 15 different, across 15 different states, from what I'm hearing, where they were planning. The FBI is involved, over 15 different states. So crazy. If it's that involved, if it's that organized, then the stuff that we've been talking about as far as like terrorist attacks looks like we're right on the cusp of that, and it's getting so. Fortunately, that one's foiled. That would have been a massive one. Imagine if it had actually gone off. where they're, drones exploding, people running all scared for their lives, being herded into an area, and they're like being shot. Now these people said that they were going to shoot people that were like billionaires. They didn't like the billionaires. Yeah, right. Right. So somebody's feeding these guys with BS, talking points if they ever get caught, probably. And I think that we're going to find out a much larger activity that's going on out there. So great for this mom. Imagine if that mom had not dimed her son out, and then that led them to all the other ones that were involved. This could actually probably grow to a much bigger group, I believe, and that's what we're going to see. So, and Justice Department investigation into Jennifer Newsom's wife. They just probe into the wife of Democrat. Now I'm hearing that this is very serious. And of course, Gavin Newsom is saying this is President Trump trying to come after him. Oh, you mean like you guys did, you Democrats, as President Trump is calling you Democrats, came after him for 4 years? Yeah. But this time it's actually, you were looking in the mirror the whole time. You guys were the criminals, and now it's getting exposed. So we're getting to see who the real criminals are. So Newsom on Monday said he's been a prominent critic of President Trump and a potential for 2028 White House contender. I think that's going to go out the window now. Kind of like, we had other people that were there in California, Swole, not so well, that has basically, had, what was it, Bang Bang, Chinese spy. California is like so in bed with the Chinese. And remember, Newsom gave like he was going to give $1 billion to China for masks because they, didn't seem to have enough masks for COVID. So they got $500 million, and I guess they didn't get even half of the masks that they had ordered. So this is a payout, money funneling, money fraud all over the place in California to foreign adversaries of the United States. California is riddled, political class of California is riddled with treasonous people all throughout, the Democrat, because basically there's no more Republicans left there, right? Maybe one or two. So it's all, we can just say, yep, it's all Democrats, because that's pretty much what it is. Not that the Republicans, again, are any better, but the Democrats basically controlling that place quite well. So she's under investigation, launched by the department's Trump-appointed leadership in D.C. Says there are clearly no boundaries to what Donald Trump will do to get his way or to challenge those who get in his way. Seabell, Newsom said in a statement, this is not presidential behavior. Like Biden, I mean, Biden is like the example you guys go by. This is like President Trump is like some kind of like, mystical God compared to Biden. And the governor and I will continue to speak truth to power because the American people deserve so much more. Still, the conduct of the department in the investigation and any charges it ultimately produces will be closely scrutinized after Trump's Justice Department has brought a series of prosecutions against the president's foes. So, we're going to find out, and they're going to find out that this is serious, and it's going to move forward, I believe, on a very quick and very massive scale. All right, dark horse. Let's go into the dark horse now. Like I said, there are so many people here that are exposing, how corrupt, the government system is, and how President Trump is destroying that on a massive scale. Like in just 1 week, we had a speaker that said just in 1 week, Trump has done what Reagan did in 8 years, right? And he gave all the different things, one after another. It is very impressive, what Trump does every single week. Of course, the press which is, you know, part of the problem all around the world, has suppressed that. You could see that in the movie Dark Horse that we all saw last night. I think Dark Horse will be a very pivotal movie to see. It comes out 9/11, right, in the U.S., and it's going to be exceptional, I believe, for everybody to see this. You know, if we look at, you know, the people that have been involved in this for a long time, we're going to see that, you know, they have been doing some very, very evil stuff. And to believe that, you know, our country is you know, not infiltrated on a massive level is just to be a complete denial. Now, Jim Caviezel, as you guys might remember, Sound of Freedom. So I remember we came together. Juan called all of us influencers out for Sound of Freedom like five years ago, I think it was. And we promoted it. We saw it and we're like, this is a movie we got to see. And then finally it came out. It was one of the highest performing independent movies of all time. I don't think it got to $1 billion, but it was moving that direction. And I think that Dark Horse could be up there as well, as far as, like, you know, numbers of people seeing it and how much it can be promoted and moved up into a very high level. So it's showing the corruption in Brazil. And I'm going to do lots of shows with a lot of people. I've met a lot of people here that want to give a lot of insight, because that was during the time frame when Bolsonaro was, being attacked and all that stuff. I was trying to get some Brazilians to come on my show, but they were not up for that, because they knew that if they came on, they would be targeted. I think I had a professor in one of the universities that was unbelievable history of Brazil. Unbelievable. It's so amazing what Brazil has gone through and has done throughout its history. But it is over the last, I guess, couple decades, kind of like America, it has come under attack from these leftists, these communists, and so forth, and it's really come down, unfortunately. So I did meet a Brazilian and another gentleman that is going to come on, and we're going to do shows together. So that's going to be really good, and they're going to do shows with some of the other influencers out there. I think that, we're going to see some amazing things happen. So the Jim Caviezel, I don't know if I get him on my show, but Jim Caviezel is supposed to do the rounds as well. So he's going to talk about it. Unbelievable actor. Wow. Unbelievable actor. What we saw in Sound of Freedom, of course, where he played Jesus. He did an incredible, and that was an independent, and that Mel Gibson did that movie where he played Jesus Christ, where he got crucified and everything. Wow. Unbelievable what he went through, to do that film. And, such an amazing actor, and we're gifted with his talent. So he did a great job in Sound of Freedom. And now here he is in Dark Horse once again. Exceptional acting. Again, it's worth watching. I'm going to see this movie probably 2 or 3 more times, right? Because there's so much in that movie to take in. And I think it'll be great for the American public just before we vote, right? A couple months before we vote or so. And we'll be inspired, and we'll go in to make sure we get some good votes in there. Of course, President Trump and team are doing their best to get the Save America Act passed. And if that doesn't work, he's going to probably pass a lot of executive orders to make sure that there's no illegal voting like we just saw in California for their election process. So we'll see. We'll see how far this goes. I think we get some, some good people out there. They're doing some really great work exposing stuff, and we'll continue to have them do shows. So a lot of you guys aren't familiar with the history of Bolsonaro. And I was up on stage and I asked that question. There were very few hands that went up. So because I did, like I said, many shows, and the people of Brazil were very appreciative of that. But we really need to take it to another level, because they have incredible corruption down in Brazil. I think Brazil is like Mexico as far as the cartels running the show for a great extent. We saw that just recently with the President Lula, where the police went into this one neighborhood where there's a lot of drug dealers and so forth. And it was like a huge war in this one city. And Lula stood in the background, didn't promote it, didn't promote those people that were like destroying the, of course he wouldn't, because he's part of it, right? He's part of that corruption. And that got displayed, that got proven to the people of Brazil, but they didn't vote for Lula anyway. So let me show a little piece of what happened. So this piece right here is where Bolsonaro got stabbed. They go into pretty much detail about that in the movie. It kind of revolves around that stabbing, and then his rise to power, and then kind of doesn't go any further than that, unfortunately, because it should have gone into, and maybe because it's still controversial, and they did a great job of it there in Brazil, because I think the Brazilians, for the most part, the rest of the world could have watched Brazil push back on the COVID lockdown, and they did an exceptional job. There was no other place in the world that pushed back on it like Brazil, no other place, and they went through a lot of trauma because of that, because the left, the Luciferians, the Lucies didn't have someone in power to like they did with Joe Biden and a lot of the other, pretty much everybody in Europe that was in leadership position were placed there to allow this to go through. Of course, Gavin Newsom in California, the worst lockdowns in the nation, the healthiest state in the nation, lots of free sunshine and lots of air, and no one really needed to get near anybody. They could just go out and be on the beach, and people got run off the beach. I remember a surfer was out surfing one time, and the police showed up and said, get back in your house. It's like, what? It's crazy. And California pushed it longer, I think, than any other state. Maybe New York probably close second, maybe Illinois, I don't know. But again, Democrat-run states, right? Leftist-run states. They're absolute evil. Their corruption in those states are unbelievable. A lot of the people that are in those states have come up to me and told me how, everybody's focused on California, but we still have incredible problems in our states, right? Utah. And I think one person came up to me and told me about, the corruption in Utah. Of course, Charlie Kirk shooting. A lot of people showed me video. They were there during the shooting. I know some people were there that thought that was real, but this one woman, it's like she was former police officer, and she was there, and she said, like me, I said, that's a complete bullshit. And she said that his chest like puffed up just before it, and then that shot went off, and then they supposedly there's blood everywhere. She said where they took him, carried him, and so forth, there was no blood. There's no blood on the floor, anything like that. And then, of course, these guys are crying. These big tough guys that were supposed to be his security detail, one of them was crying because he was like, he died. Bullshit, right? So there's more evidence of that. So anyway, in Utah, this woman, this other woman that's part of the fraud that's going on in the election, they brought all this information to a judge, and the judge said, there's too many facts. And throughout the case, there's too many facts. Are you kidding me? These guys are making it up as they go along, guys. The corruption's so bad. They've been, at some point, the stuff that's happening in Dublin, if this continues, it's going to get out of hand here in the United States in some areas, all right? And some of those people are going to get dragged into the streets. That's my prediction. I'm not saying that I want that. I don't believe in that. I hope that doesn't happen. Not that I don't believe in it, but I believe it might have to happen, unfortunately. But that's the way of the world. Like I said, we go through this craziness every 400 years or so. I look back in time, and we're pretty much every 400 years there's a cleansing. This town needs an enema, right? Just like Batman movie. So the Joker, this town needs an enema. And so a lot of these towns need enemas bad, right? And get that nasty stuff out of there, right? So that's what we're going to see, I think, going forward on a massive scale. Now, this is Bolsonaro being stabbed. So if look away if you don't like these types of scenes. It's not too realistic. I mean, it is realistic because it's real, because it actually happened. You can see it. But if that concerns you, then don't watch this part.
And tensions are running high. Leading presidential candidate Jair Bolsonaro.
So tensions are running high. Why? It's like you guys have, your ideals and we have our ideals, and a lot of people are like, really coming over to Bolsonaro, and so the tensions are running high because of that. Yeah, we know why. We know why, because they're trying to control, and they can't let somebody like Bolsonaro get in because they have long-term plans mapped out. One of them was the coming lockdowns and COVID.
Was stabbed. Video on social networks showed the exact moment when Bolsonaro was stabbed with a knife this Thursday in the abdomen during a campaign event in the state of Minas Gerais. Reportedly, one suspect is in police custody. Bolsonaro was being carried on the shoulders by a supporter when he was attacked.
So in the movie, and I heard from this Brazilian that they only showed a little bit of the corruption in the movie. And I'm like, it's hardly anybody in the U.S. even knows about this, right? So we can't, like totally dump all the information. Now, I can do that, and I can have people on my show if they're willing to. And there's two people. One is from the U.S. and one's from Brazil that are going to be coming on and talking about this stuff. Both of them have had their lives destroyed, obviously, right? And because and one guy has had the FBI come to his place, and he's like in his home with a shotgun. He's like, guys, I'm not going. Don't come in. It's going to get ugly. And eventually they left. So, and then he went to, and now I guess he lives on a reservation. At your reservation, he lost everything. So this is part of what people do to expose this stuff, guys. They get their lives destroyed, or their lives are threatened. Some of them don't make it. So it's tough bringing this stuff out. So that's why this movie, I think, will be very, very valuable to show people, through movies, because we now go to the movies, and then we can have the conversations about this stuff, so people can get it on a certain level, and they can see the corruption in another country that is extremely similar to what happened in the United States. It's because they have the same game plan. They use the same stuff, guys, every single time, all around the world.
Candidate was taken to the hospital. He was taken to surgery, and doctors said his intestines were hit, but relatives and families have been giving statements to the media saying his condition is stable. The former army captain runs on a tough on crime platform. He also supports liberal economics. Controversial and outspoken, Bolsonaro faces strong opposition from leftist groups and activist movements like feminists and LGBT groups. Yet he's
sounds like the U.S., doesn't it? So it's the same pattern, the exact same pattern that we can all learn from. Because I don't know, maybe here in the United States, you can't look at your own country, and and that's kind of the way it is. Jesus said, you can't, win everybody over in your hometown because no one believes you. So he went out and spread the word everywhere else. So maybe some people here in the United States and the rest of the world will be able to see this movie and go, oh, they are very corrupt in Brazil. And then they start to reflect back a little bit and go, oh, because this is what happened for me when I was in the CIA, and I saw that Mockingbird media was being used around the world by the CIA. And I was like, thank God they don't do it in America. And then I was like, oh, shit, right? So this is the way it can work, because it worked that way for me when I really started to see, the corruption on another level. I knew the corruption was there, but then I saw it firsthand. I was like, holy smokes, this is like insane. They just use a little bit more, they're more refined how they, come in America or Europe or so forth, and, manipulated us. You can go to a third world country and be like, how can these people not see that? It's because they don't have to be as refined, because the people are simpler, right? Because they've dumbed down the people to the point where they control them on a massive scale. That's why they're third world country, because there shouldn't be any third world country or a second world country anywhere in the world, right? But these massive manipulators will go into countries and steal their wealth and control their people and dumb them down. And when there's nothing left, they'll leave, and eventually they'll build back, and then they'll come back in and steal again from them. It's crazy how this works, but this is the way that these criminals work. Mike, is it true we already survived mayhem and we are watching movie for sleepers to catch up? I don't think so. I think that we're seeing some real stuff that's coming. It's a lot of it's being mitigated, I think, to a great extent. But we are like Mary Ellen saying right here, Mary Ellen Johnson, we are getting very, and I like that word, very dumbed down in America. So, yep. So it's tragic. It's unfortunate, but this is the way that they do things. You guys, I know a lot of you guys watched the show that I just did with Kathy O'Brien. Remember, Kathy said that she probably was going to make it to the fraud conference. Well, she was here today. Gave her a big hug. She got on stage, and Juan was up there with her, and hopefully we get some more people donating to her. I think I haven't checked, but I think she was getting some decent money into refurbish, because she's leaving tonight or in the morning and flying back. So she just came out for the day, made a statement, saw everybody, got some good hugs from everybody, and such a beautiful soul. And she's heading back. All right. So again, the influencers are here on a massive scale, and we're talking, we're planning, how we can, have an impact. It's really cool hearing from people, because they're like, you guys talking about me, Scott McKay, and Nino, who's here. All of us are here, and then others that are, podcasters, not just the three of us, but there's several other good ones still. The other bad ones are being exposed. We're seeing them, Carlson and lot of them out there. So the ones that we used to think were good are exposing themselves. They're throwing themselves under the bus because that's what their handlers have told them. It's not going to get any better. We're going to probably see a lot more people that are going to expose themselves as being either no longer, connected to information sources, because a lot of people are coming up and revealing information to me and the other podcasters. So there's a lot of things that are coming that will be revealed, but just revealing doesn't mean things change. Change has to come from us. All right. We, the people, have to change. I know a lot of people believe that there is a savior out there for them, like Trump is going to save her, the military is going to save us. And in Brazil, they thought their military was going to come save them, just like we thought here in the United States. I was like, there's no way they're going to let Biden come. The military's not going to let Biden come in. And they did. And then I was like, well, the military will not take that shot. And it was forced on them. So we can't look for saviors, guys. We, the people, have to work together and work with people like sheriffs and the good side of the military and so forth to, have the change that we know that needs to come. And like we've been talking about for a long time, once America, gets that change and is stabilized and is strong again, we're going to start to do that around the world. We'll help other countries, right? Because we can't have other countries around us where a lot of these people, you're seeing a lot of these people are running to other countries right now. Marjorie Taylor Greene ran to, Costa Rica, and she's talking her bullshit from there. And all of the Hollywood, little lesbians are like, they've ran and they're talking their shit from other countries. So, at some point, there will be no place for these guys to run and hide, right? And we have to make the world like that. So we clean our country up, and then we go out and we do the same out there. So we obviously have a lot of work to do here. There's still, I think this next election cycle will be very instrumental in moving that in the right direction. Now, of course, in the unlikely event, you always have to plan for the worst case scenario. That's the way the pros do it, right? You plan for success, but you have the what could unfortunately happen, worst case scenario type of stuff. So if it does happen, you can, you've already got a plan for that, and you can recover fairly quickly. If you just go in thinking that everything's going to be, work in your favor, and God is on your side, and there's no way that anything cannot work in your favor, sometimes you don't have everything together, and you believe in fairy dust and unicorns and rainbows and so forth, and then you get slapped upside the head with a bullet, right? Or your leader gets, his head chopped off in the middle of the street, or somebody does, like happened in Ireland. And I guess in Italy, a girl just had her throat cut. So the Italians are finally, waking up too. So now look out there and see what's going on, guys. That's coming for America. If we don't really, get together and start to push back on this illegal immigration bullshit, right? And Gavin Newsom and the Democrats and again, I'm not picking on just the Democrats, although they're extremely corrupt, right? So extremely, all right, more so than the Republicans, slightly more, right? They're all corrupt, they all have to be replaced at some point. But we believe that I believe sheriffs are common law and police are maritime law. No, sheriffs obviously are in charge of police, right? So if you believe that sheriffs are common law, then of course the police are as well, deputies and so forth. So it is in some places, it's not. They're corrupted. Some places they don't elect sheriffs, they're appointed, and that's very rare. But I think there are some places out there that have appointed sheriffs there and deputies or police or whatever. So you want a constitutional sheriff that is selected, voted by the local group, where some county or whatever, you have a county sheriff and so forth. Every county should have a constitutional sheriff. We do not have constitutional sheriffs all throughout the United States, right? We've had Sheriff Mack, pushing that for a long time. I asked him the last time he was on a show. He was supposed to come on a show just recently. He's out with a new book. We'll have to do self-deputizing, right? So absolutely. And but in a group, I mean, you can self-deputize yourself, and then you go out and run around on your own. You're going to get knocked down pretty quick. But if you work as a group, that could be very effective, unless you go vigilante, right? I've been saying vigilante a lot. Vigilanteism has come up here at this event. So, and Juan was saying in certain circumstances that might be correct, right? So, like we're seeing in, Dublin, Ireland. So at some point, that probably will start to spill into certain areas of the United States, because we're not seeing, a movement in the right direction, throughout the United States. And same thing throughout other places throughout the world. There's a woman, I just saw an article where there's a woman in France that's trying to expose the raping that's going on. It's unbelievable the amount of raping that's going on in Europe, guys. Just in the UK alone, there's been like 250,000 rapes. All right. And women are getting raped over and over again, and the police and the government are not doing anything. All right. They're siding with the replacements. All right. Remember, the communists and the Luciferians are out to destroy our countries, and we have to wake up to this. So if you know the person that's ultimately to be held accountable, that's whoever's in a position of power. All right. So President Trump is doing everything in his power to, you know, give power back to the people. And in other places, they're trying to take it away, just like they are in California and Illinois and Washington State and Oregon and, you know, every other extreme in Colorado and every other leftist, New York, every other leftist in New Hampshire and Vermont. And it's like, Jesus Christ, what happened? So how did we let it get this far, this bad? We have, so is that going to get turned around like at the election? Of course not. President Trump can say there's no more cheating. Otherwise, we're going to come after you. And the Democrats are still going to cheat in their states and their cities. Right. And when I say cities, you still have cities, even in Texas. Now you have an extreme, like, again, you know, Republicans are bad as well. So you have Greg Abbott, who needs to go to jail. All right. He has let so much crime come into Texas. It's unbelievable. And Texans are really starting to wake up to it. But again, they got a lot of work to do. If Abbott is elected somehow or selected, you people in Texas should go surround that state house until he goes away. All right. They have done that in other countries. And I think that should happen wherever you know there is, here in the United States, if you know that there is corruption that's happened in your election process, you should surround that White House or that Capitol or whatever until it's gone. All right. One way or another, whether they resign, you demand their resignation and they can't come out of the Capitol until they do, or you pull them vigilante like out and you make it happen. Right. So this is where things are going. You can go vigilante, or you can allow them, like in you know, California, to burn you out of your cities, you know, with direct energy weapons. Right. So what do you want? You want to like let these guys, you know, President Trump is doing the best he can, but if in the unlikely or probably the likely event, depending on where you're at, these perverts and you know, crazies get in, and we have more, you know, direct energy weapons that are used on cities and so forth. It's time to, like, you know, take matters into the people's hands, right? Because they're not going to get voted out. You can't do it by the vote. If you don't have a judicial system like we're seeing down in Brazil, which is extremely corrupt, that threw Bolsonaro in jail for 27 years. Remember how they tried to pin, you know, J6 on Trump, saying that it was his fault? They did that in Brazil. And I remember Bolsonaro was literally in Mar-a-Lago talking to President Trump. Right? I think it was the same time frame where they raided the Capitol, just like they did, you know, these baddies came in and raided the Capitol. They set us up for failure. And, you know, they did the same thing down in Brazil. And they charged Bolsonaro with attempting a coup. So he can't, for whatever reason, you know, he came back to Brazil, you know, because that's the way he is. He's like for the people, and they wanted him to come back, and they were, you know, the corrupt judicial lawfare there in Brazil basically, you know, took him to trial and said that he was arrested him, took him to trial and said that he was planning a coup, and threw him in jail for 27 years. So we know they tried to do that with Trump, and that's that's what we have to stop this. The people of Brazil, I don't know why they don't, rise up. Maybe because there's a lot of crazy leftists, and they don't feel like they can, because the leftists, they show in the movie, the leftists show up kind of like these Antifa, like an Antifa crowd, and they were trying to get in, and while Bolsonaro was in a hospital, they kept trying to sneak in and kill him in the hospital, and they kept getting interrupted and chased off and tracked down and all kind of crazy stuff. And then they just came in with a huge group and caused a riot. And then fortunately they had good cops at the time, and the cops came in shooting up in the air and ran off the baddies. And so it's a mess down there in Brazil. And we're no better here in America, guys. I guess we're better because we have Trump in office, and they have their Trump, their Bolsonaro, their Trump of the South America. He's in jail. All right. So Brazil's contentious pandemic. So Bolsonaro, even though he was stabbed, almost killed, recovered. He's a tough guy. They show how his 3 sons were helping him out. And the press right away said that, he was killed. And they had the doctor come on. It's like, and the doctor came out. It's like, all the reports of Bolsonaro being dead are bullshit. Right? See, because I'm going to operate on him and he's going to survive. And he did. So now we had someone that was speaking at our event that was talking about how they were in Columbia University, where supposedly Obama went to Columbia and graduated from Columbia. So he went through this. Alan Root went through. Is it George Allen, or I think it's anyway? Alan Root, basically, because Trump is always saying, "Where's Root? Where's Root?" And it's like comes to Las Vegas, and he's like, "Where's Root?" And Root's a big guy here in Las Vegas, so has a great show. But he was the guy who was talking about how every week Trump does more than Reagan did in 4 years. And so he was at Columbia University, and he said that pretty much everybody there is leftist. It's like he's the one conservative out of the whole group, pretty much. And somebody ran in and they said that kind of the same thing. They said that Reagan, it was when Reagan was shot. They came here and ran in and said Reagan was murdered, is dead, and everybody stood up and applauded. It's like, what the friggin' hell? We got some serious problems here in the United States with people, right? So he goes on to talk about how he came back many years later when Obama came into power and so forth, and even Juan was talking about how like many years before, he was saying to people that there's a senator that has a transgender, relationship, and posing as his wife, and everybody's like, "What the hell are you talking about? Shut up!" And sure enough, then Obama comes out with Michael, and then everybody's like, and he makes it to the White House, and everybody's like, "Holy smoke, you were right." So it's like that, unfortunately, right now, where we're trying to expose a lot of this stuff. And it takes years for this information to catch up to people, and they go, "Holy shit, you guys were right. Let's stop this." Then it's too late, right? So we don't want to get to too late again, like we did with COVID, where a lot of us were trying to clue everybody up, and then it was too late because no one really got on board with the good side of that. So here we are talking about COVID and Brazil's contentious pandemic, anti and pro lockdown protest in time of COVID-19. So March 15, 2020, ignoring the Ministry of Health's recommendations. Wouldn't we have loved to have had a president that did that? And that's probably what Trump, I hope, would have done. But anyway, Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro paraded around Brasilia's monumental Axis Avenue with protesters who gathered against the Chamber of Deputies. Bolsonaro waved, greeted, and hugged protesters and spoke against the press, left-wing parties, state governors, and the opposition parties in the Chamber of Deputies who blocked his agenda. His supporters, dressed in the colors of the Brazilian flag, sang religious hymns and the national anthem. They called for military intervention, which did not come. And it did not come when they demonstrated, and then suspect rioters came in and burned their capital. Right? So they went to extremes. They saw what happened in the United States, and they took it to the next level. His supporters, dressed in the, like I said, at that point, the COVID-19 pandemic was already in the news, and Brazil had around 200 cases. This political scene would be repeated throughout the next year, in addition to the common diatribe. So diatribes, who put this bullshit out? So, yes, Rafael de Souza, you communist pig, right? At the time of the writing, COVID, so he blows up the numbers like they did in the United States, which we know are all bullshit, until they started to vaccinate everybody. And that's when the numbers really ran up, and they've been suppressing that and hiding that. So anyway, understanding how the pandemic affected an increasingly polarized political scene is fundamental to identifying the way political actors inside and outside the state have adapted and innovated ways of doing politics on the streets. So just like we saw, during the last 2020 corrupt election, they said the most effective, safe and effective, election in history. That's the narrative they keep saying. So most simple people, they hear that over and over again, and their dull little brains believe it. All right. Those of us that have eyes to see and ears to hear, see that bullshit, and we're like, bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. All right. And we're like, no, guys, that was not the safest election ever. But what I'm hearing here is there's going to be massive amounts of information that comes out that exposes that on an unbelievable level that many of us, even moi included, are going to be wowed by. All right. So stand by. Yeah, we've heard this a lot, but we're getting down to the wire. They better pull it out. All right. Don't you think? Because we don't have much time left. Anyway. Again, I've said this months and months ago, that if we see this election stolen again, look out, right? Look out, right? It's gonna get bad, right? And that's just the way it is. So we want these guys to do the right thing. Of course, the other side wants it to go bad. They want to cheat like hell. And if we get riled up about that, they'll see. All these knuckleheads, and who's doing the terrorism tax right now, are trying to, the leftist, just like they did in Brazil. All right. So again, yes, silver. You better get your silver, because shit's going to get really crazy, and you're going to want that money. You're going to need it. All right. Because it's going to the moon. All right, so Lula. So where did this Lula guy come from that won the election over Bolsonaro? This is like a case of, imagine Biden having been in jail for like 12 years for election fraud. Yeah, he should have been, right? And then he comes out and he wins the election. That would take it to the next level, right? And that's what they did in Brazil. So they just went next level in Brazil. I don't know. Maybe the Brazilians are smarter than us, because we're easily dumbed down, and it sounds like they're able to get away with a lot easier stuff on us than they did the Brazilians. So I mean, I'm telling you, a lot of the Brazilians that I've talked to, they're super highly intelligent. Of course, there's lots of Americans same, but when I look at this, I'm like, Brazilians, they had to go another level again. So like I said, when I was in, a lot of these Middle Eastern countries, third world countries, the level of stupid they were putting their press to control people was like just absolutely incredible. I was like, what the hell? Like these people are like rat level intelligence, which some rats probably a lot smarter than some, absolutely smarter than a lot of people in the Middle East, right? And maybe in some of these towns in the United States, some of these leftists, right, around the world are rat level or below intelligent, rat level intelligence. I'm serious. I'm not kidding. Because we can teach these rats to basically run through mazes and get the cheese. You can't do that with a lot of these leftists, right? All right, Lula, the metal worker who rewired Brazil's politics. He didn't do it. Somebody manipulated him into that position. All right, so here he is, losing, learning, then winning. All right, he ran for president 3 times, lost 3 times, before finally winning in 2002. And he stayed until 2010. Then he went to prison. All right, he went to prison. Hello. And he's supposed to be in prison for a while. Trials, prison, and illegal earthquake. So Lula was convicted in April 2018 for election fraud and began a 12-year sentence, which removed him from the 2018 race. In November 2019, he was freed. So Bolsonaro won in 2018, and they're like, we need the left. We're like, we need somebody. We need who's the biggest idiot that we have that's even worse than Biden, that's more of an idiot and worse than Biden, right? So they got Lula, right? He was freed after a Supreme Court shift. Yeah, their Supreme Court was like completely compromised, unfortunately. Ours is pretty close. Supreme Court shift on imprisonment rules. Then in 2021, Supreme Court decision annulled his convictions because he wouldn't have been able to run with his convictions. If you're a felon there in Brazil, you can't run for the highest office. So they let him out of prison, and then they annulled his sentence so that he could run. Wow. Talk about a setup. All right. And then a big comeback. In 2022, Lula narrowly defeated incumbent Jair Bolsonaro 50.9 to 49.1. Wow. It's like Biden, in some states he won by like what, 30 votes or something crazy. It was like 1,000 votes in some others. And that was only after, they stopped the voting count in the middle of the night, 2-3 o'clock in the morning, and then they brought in the absentee ballots. So that is why President Trump wants to get rid of the absentee ballots, because as we're seeing right now in California, they can, flip the votes after a couple weeks. Duh. So they did that in, I don't know if I think they might have had mail-in ballots or machines and mail-in ballots. We're trying to do away with machines and mail-in ballots. If we can do that, then there's very, very a good likelihood that we can, defeat the evil Democrats, right? Or the evil Republicans as well. I don't know. So we'll see. Now this was when, just like here in America, we're like J6. We're like, bullshit. That was after months and months and months of showing that there was corruption like crazy. We all went to the White House and the Capitol. Not all of us, because a lot of you guys knew that there was going to be a problem there, right? So you didn't show up, but a lot of us did. If you were smart, you didn't use your credit cards. And I just bought a new car, so I still had dealer plates on it. So I'd like drove there with my dealer plates on it. So I never had any problems, but a lot of people did, unfortunately. They arrested a lot of people. And we've had some speakers that are talking about that today. So, and they're coming out with something else. I guess all the J6ers, President Trump pardoned them. And it sounds like what we weren't told what was coming, but I guess they're going to file some kind of suit, which will probably get a lot of traction. And we've got Tina Peters got released just recently. She was at the event last night. She was talking about the Dark Horse movie. Now, Tina Peters was very quiet because they were trying to like get that information out of her, what she had. And she was like, and they tried to kill her in jail and all kind of crazy stuff. She's a survivor. I guess God is on her side or something. And thanks, Mary Ellen. That's beautiful. Thanks. 55. That's good. That's a good number. So she was able to, survive. And now she's out. She seems to be doing well. Saw her last night. She spoke at the Dark Horse movie premiere. The first time the movie was ever seen anywhere in its entirety in front of an audience. So we all saw it. The most influential people on earth here in this group right now, and we have really good security, of course, and we have police presence and lots of good security here. So very, very impressed because I look, so but my movements are very, very, very careful, right? I'm putting a bubble around the place, so I think this place is going to do well. Anyway, and if there is an attack, I don't think we're going to be affected, all right? So, yeah, Tina Peters spoke, and she spoke highly of the movie and said that, after she spoke before and after watching the movie, and she said that, everyone in America needs to watch it. And I agree. Everyone does. It's an amazing movie. And I hope you guys are getting inspired from all the stuff that I'm showing you about Bolsonaro and what, the people of Brazil went through. Very, very crazy. Because we know that people can be compromised, as I call it, mentally compromised. Right? MK Ultra. And of course, Kathy O'Brien, the show that I did with her, a lot of you guys have seen it now. And she talked about how they were going to do, a congressional, hearing on that. And of course, surprisingly, we had all those files that were stolen out of, the DNI's office. It's like Tulsi Gabbard. What the hell? It's like, what, just have them out on the floor and the CIA could just walk in and walk out with them? It's very suspect to me, right? So anyway, you guys know my opinion of Tulsi, right? Kind of up there with not as bad maybe as some of them out there. Right? I don't know. Marjorie Taylor Greene is quite a piece of man work, right? So yeah, I'm going to call her man from here on out. I called her man a long time ago, all right? So we'll see. And maybe we won't. I don't care. But she probably should be arrested and tried for treason and thrown in jail or executed. I don't know. Yeah, you think Tulsi's compromised, Georgia girl? GG. Yeah, I think a lot of us do. Just doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see why she went. Yeah, Marjorie has some very unusual feet, doesn't she? It's like, whoa, what the hell? I don't know. I'm just like, somebody must have photoshopped those feet. I don't know. They can't be that bad. Right. So that's unbelievable. I think that's like somebody's throwing a funny on that. I just don't believe it. Right. And if those are her feet, then we need to check her DNA because she's not real. She's not a human. She's an alien. So good God. Alien dude, right? That's posing as a woman. So, all right, let's have some fun here. Why not? Because we got a lot of funny people that are trying to compromise us and manipulate us. Let's joke them back. All right, so let's go into this pro-Bolsonaro supporters in Brazil, how they basically protested, just like we did on J6. Pro-Bolsonaro supporters in Brazil arrested after storming Congress to protest election laws. Sound familiar? More than 4,000 supporters of Jair Bolsonaro arrived in Brasilia for a protest that quickly turned into a riot reminiscent of the even right here they're saying a reminiscent of the January 6th insurrection, planned and executed just like J6, right? Because like I said, these guys, they get away with one. Criminal get away with something. If a criminal, robs a bank and they get away with it, they'll probably rob another bank, right? And maybe just the same way, or maybe just a little bit of a curve, like they did here. Instead of just, smashing windows and, pressing up against the entry and walking around in the building, they went in and burned it. All right. Let's take it next level. So there they are, all crowded in there. Lula was forced to call upon emergency powers to quell the rioters. 2 police cars were damaged in the riot, which continued for 3 hours. The next day, police shut down an encampment that was held outside Brazil's military headquarters, where demonstrators settled following the previous day's uprising. Of the 1,500 arrested, 300 were detained on Sunday, and another 1,200 were detained on Monday. So they're protesting for the military to get involved, and they got arrested, right? So didn't happen. Now, of course, President Trump, he's basically showing our military corrupt people the door. A lot of them are being kicked out. Of course, he kicked a lot of them out in his first term. He's doing the same in this term. We don't need as many as we got. We need to downsize the military officers on a massive scale. We have, I think, like 4 times more, or 4 times. I think I'm like super under estimating the numbers of military officers that are out there than we did in World War II. Now, in World War II, I think we had like 12 or 13 million people that were under arms, and now we have like, I don't know, less than 2 million, 1.2, 1.5, something like that million. And we have 4 more times the number of officers. Yeah, there's a problem there. And so a lot of them need to be cleaned out. Now, when he did the call up for all of the admirals and the generals to come and meet him in that auditorium in D.C., and he told them that I was 45, I was 46, because he was the commander-in-chief as 46, and I'm 47. And if you don't like that, there's a door. That's what he said. It's like, I wonder how many people after that event got their papers, right? Yeah, we know you're a baddie, and it's time for you to go bye-bye, right? So why are they protesting? Brazil's presidential election, which was held in October, was one of the tightest races in the country has seen in years. Lula won the polarizing election, so they got a criminal, felon out of jail. They pardoned him, and then they took away his sentence, and then they let him run for office. You think a lot of people voted for him? Really? All right. It's like Joe Biden. He never came out of his basement, and when he did, he had a crowd of about 3 or 4. President Trump, everywhere he went, he had tens and tens of thousands. I was at a couple of those events. There must be like 40 or 50,000 of the events that I went to. It was insane how many people showed up. And then I was at J6, and there was like probably 1.5 million people there. They keep under reporting the numbers at all these events that President Trump, of course, was at. And I was like, why are we leaving DC? Right? Why? They're going to steal it now. And sure enough, I left early in the morning. I was like, President Trump's like, get out. And I was like, it felt bad. DC felt really bad. It was already shut down. All the stores were shut down to a great extent. The hotels just opened just for us. I talked to one of the guys that was, taking me up to my room with my luggage and stuff. And he was like, yep, we've been laid off for like 3-4 weeks or a month or whatever it was, and or months, and we got the call to come in for this. Everybody's wearing masks, but those of us that were protesting, none of us had masks on, and everybody else that's working in DC, they had their masks on. Sad. So he's like, and then after this, we're going to shut down again. Wow. So what a rot DC is. Disgusting place. All right. I think Trump has turned that around quite a bit, and people are much happier with him there, but very, very bad back then. So now Bolsonaro, once they pushed him out, there's nothing he could do anymore. Just like Trump. I don't think he had control at all in Brazil. So protesters on Sunday were demanding the election be overturned and the reinstatement of Bolsonaro as president. They called for the military to intervene to prevent Lula, who was away in Sao Paulo, kind of like those, directed energy weapon attacks that happened in, California. We had the LA mayor was, I don't know, where was she? It's like some African country, Ghana or something. And in the attack that happened in Maui, they had the mayor there was in Oahu in a meeting. So the way they do these things, right? So that they can have deniability. So it's easy to see in the footage the police officers talking to the attackers, just like we had in J6. He said, going on to allege explicit connivance of police with the demonstrators. Brazil's presidential communications minister, Paulo Pimenta, claimed on Monday that the riot could not have happened without some level of facilitation, just like a J6, right? Just like a J6. All right. So again, similarities. So like for me, I could see, oh my God, look at the corruption in the Middle East. It's so obvious. And then we saw the same thing in Brazil. But theirs was more obvious because they did it on another level again. All right. So I don't know. It's so crazy. So Bolsonaro jailed for 27 years. So what happened? Supreme Court sentenced Bolsonaro to 27 years and 3 months. 27 years and 3 months. What? In prison shortly after convicting him of plotting the coup. All right. Plotting a coup. So Brazil's top court convicts son of former. So just like, we knew that if they got Trump and put him in prison, they'd come after his family. So they're doing the same thing with Bolsonaro's family. This was 20 minutes ago. Brazil's top court convicts son of former President Bolsonaro for coercion. Make it up. Oh, there's too many facts. Yeah, we're going to throw this out. Too many facts. Brazil's Supreme Court sentences Bolsonaro's son over U.S. lobbying. So Jair Bolsonaro's son sentenced to 4 years in jail for seeking U.S. interference. Could you guys down here? All right. I'll put him in jail for 4 years. All right. Wow. Holy smokes. That's right, Mary. Can't make this shit up. Can't make it up. It's so ridiculous, right? All right, guys. Great crowd tonight. Thanks for showing up. Hope you guys got some insight. This Dark Horse movie is going to be great. You're going to want to see it. Comes out 9/11. We'll be talking about a lot more. We'll have some of the people that are involved in the movie. I think some of the directors and so forth are going to come on a lot of our shows, and we'll be talking to them about it. And then, of course, I'm going to have a lot of people, hopefully, from Brazil that are going to come in and talk about what happened in their country so that we can all learn from how these guys do the same thing to all of us, right? And they got away with it down in Brazil on a massive scale. So we have to stop that at some point. We're going to go down there and help them. We're going to get Bolsonaro freed, right? He's going to get freed, right? Hopefully he lives long enough for us to free him. You know how they do, because I guess he got sick. He was on house arrest, and then he put him in the jail, and he got sick, and they're saying he's trying to like cut his ankle monitor off, and so they put him in jail. So they're gonna make it up. They're gonna make it up as they go along. All right. Fortunately, we have Tina. One said that Tina, has a lot of information. A lot of information. All right. And she's going to be pivotal, I guess, at some point in revealing a lot of that information. I don't know how. She's probably got some kind of court order against her. They're probably working to get that off of her. And then she's going to probably reveal a lot of stuff, right? And fraud. That one little knucklehead that did the same fraud that she did, open up machines and so forth. And nothing happened to her, nothing at all. So she's going to get some, right? She's going to get some. All right. All right, guys. Lots of love. Stay in the love vibration. Just send love. Love is the most effective. I've been sending a lot of love to Newsom. See how it's working? So a lot of you guys can hate, but that's what they are. They're fear, evil, and hate. That's what all those people are. And if you just hate on them, you empower them. If you send them love, you destroy them. So send them love, all right? And love, not like love. It's like God's love. God's unconditional love. Send them love, all right? It is very, very effective. Send them all. And all those people that prosecuted, they got some. I should have showed you guys the prosecutor for I guess a top justice in Brazil. The guy looks like a friggin' vampire. What the hell? It's like a cross between a vampire and some demonic entity. It's like, wow, really, really strange and fitting, right? All right, stay in love vibration. See you guys next time.